Why, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Truly Odd Podcast Movie News Edition. If you haven't already, we just recently decided to separate the podcast from movie news and game news. Game news has already been uploaded, so if you're interested in hearing about video game news, go ahead and check out that podcast, which was uploaded previously. But we're going to go ahead and jump into the movie news, and I am your host, Joe Garcia. So get your popcorn and let's dive right on in. Our first news topic of the day is we have a Squid Game Season 3 teaser and a release date announcement with the teaser. Now, first thing I want to talk about is the teaser itself. I think it was a great little teaser showing you what's to come. The continuation of Season 2. Now, initially, I felt Season 2 should not have ended where it ended because I felt like there was so much more story to tell, and I think it was a kind of a cop out to call that the end of Season 2. I think this should be season 2.5, I guess you can say, but yeah, I feel like it was a bit of a cop out that they went along this path of pushing it this far out for splitting the season up, but they're calling it Season 3, so I'm very interested in what they're going to do. I very much enjoyed Season 1. Season 2 was also really good. I had a great time with it. I'm hoping you guys had a chance to check out Squid Games. If you have not, what a great time to jump on board and check it out before it releases on June 26th or June 27th, 2025. So fairly soon. Very exciting news to check out the new Squid Game Season 3. But let me know what you guys thought of this teaser down below and give me some theories and some expectations you're hoping for the next season. I'm curious what you guys think. Moving on to our next topic. How to Train Your Dragon IMAX trailer has dropped. And, you know, this movie looks phenomenal, but I was a little saddened by this trailer because initially when I watched it like 3 times, but the first time I watched it, I was like, why are they giving this movie away? But then as I watched it the second and third time, I thought about it. This movie's technically already been released in animated form, so everybody knows what's going to happen to these characters, what's going to happen to Hiccup, to Toothless and everything. So I figured, you know what? Why not? Everything that they're going to add that's extra in this news, I don't think they've spoiled so far. I hope they expand on his training with the dragons. I hope they expand on other aspects of the film. Who knows? Maybe they expand on the last action scene. But it seems to be a almost shot for shot retelling. I'm sure that they'll make their own individual changes. So I'm very curious what they're going to do. But I feel like this trailer very much spoiled it. So if you haven't seen How to Train Your Dragon at all in any format, I highly recommend you avoid this trailer at all costs because it spoils quite a bit of the film. But if you have seen How to Train Your Dragon animated series, I'll have the link to the animated movie. I'll have a link to this YouTube trailer in the description down below, also with Squid Games as well. So go ahead and take a look. But what did you guys think of this IMAX trailer? Do you feel like I did initially, where it spoiled too much, but then realized, hey, it's already been out for however many years, you know? So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Moving on to topic number 3. So we had a social media post from Warner Brothers about the Practical Magic sequel. I think it was Nicole Kidman's voice doing a voiceover, and they had a nice rhyme saying that the movie is going to be released on September 18th, 2026. So my mother's going to be very happy to hear this news. Mom, if you're watching, Practical Magic 2026 September. So make sure you're over here so we can go catch it in theaters. But yeah, so Practical Magic is coming out. Now, I am a fan of the original movie. I'm not a huge fan like my mom probably is and is excited for this movie. But this is going to be directed by Susanne Bier. And honestly, I haven't seen much of her filmography. The only movie that I've seen from her is Bird Box from Netflix. That starred Sandra Bullock, the one where she carries birds and is blindfolded through most of the movie. So that movie was pretty interesting. So if you haven't checked out Bird Box, maybe you can get an idea of her as a director. I haven't seen any other film from her. I was hoping the original director would come back, but I don't think he's directed anything since 2017. So maybe he's retired. But yeah, this is exciting news for anyone that's a fan of Practical Magic. I'm, of course, going to have to take my mom to the theater to check it out. So yeah, May 18th, 2026. Let me know what you guys think. Are you excited to see Practical Magic 2? Moving on to our fourth topic of the day. Shogun season 2 is going to have a long wait. So if you hadn't heard, Shogun was the highest, I think it won the most Emmy awards in history, and has already just gotten a following that people are excited for the next season. Now, the problem is the Shogun show already went along with the book. If you don't know, Shogun's based on a book, and the book is done. I think there's a sequel book, but I think that sequel book takes place like 100 years or so later. So they're not going to utilize that book. So the question is, how are they going to do season 2 with all these Emmy awards, all these accolades? Of course, the money, they're going to go for season 2. And what they decided to do was to actually pull from history and kind of tell more of a historical point of the Shogun show afterwards. So it's not going to be actual history, but more pulling from it. Now, we're going to have to wait 3 years because filming for this is going to begin next year, I believe. And so we won't be getting this show till about 2028, give or take. And that's not even to say when the marketing team says it's the best time to release the show. And I think that's sad to see. And it's kind of typical as of late with all the streaming service shows. If you haven't noticed, we have long waits between great shows that we like Severance, for example, on Apple TV. I think that was a three-year wait as well. So I think we're having to wait another 3 years before Severance season 3 comes out. So yeah, it's just typical now for streaming services to take so long in between shows and sequels. And it's a bit ridiculous if you ask me, because, I think the problem is that they go into these shows and they have such huge budgets just for a streaming show, and they don't necessarily need to do that, depending on the show, of course, because some shows actually deserve a huge budget. Shogun, for example, I think deserves a huge budget, but what they do with the streaming service is a bit crazy how long they take in between, but they need to do what they're doing on other shows on other TV networks, like back in the day where you'd have 27 episodes a season, you'd have 15 episodes a season. I think a great example is the show Pit that was on Max recently. That I think that had 16 episodes, if I'm not 12 to 15 episodes. I can't remember exactly, but it had like 12 to 15 episodes. But that was great. Now we're getting shows with 5, 8 episode seasons, and it's kind of crazy how short of seasons we're getting for shows and how crazy long they're taking. But this is just another example that I'm hoping with the accolades we got in Shogun. The one thing I felt was missing in the first season of Shogun was more action. Not saying it needed it. It was a great story regardless of the action, but I felt it needed more action. But let me know what you guys think. Are you hoping with this wait we'll get more action scenes? They'll put more money towards the fighting, towards expanding this universe of Shogun? Are you excited for season 2? And are you sad that you're going to have to wait till 2028? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And moving on to our final topic of the day, it looks like Trump will initiate a 100% tariff on films produced outside of the U.S. Now, there's a lot going on here with this story, and the question is who's going to deal with these tariffs? Is it people in Italy wanting to make a film and then have it released here in the U.S.? Is that the tariff that they're going to pay? Or is it studios here in the U.S. taking productions to like London, for example? I know a lot of Star Wars is filmed, I think, in London. And so the question there is, are they going to have to pay for the tariffs? Is Disney going to have to pay for it because they're producing outside the U.S.? There's just so many wishy-washy things going on with this information. But it was just announced on, I think, his social network platform, Truth Social. So yeah, it's quite confusing what we got going on. I'm sure they haven't worked out all the minutia of what needs to be done and what needs to go on as far as tariffs are concerned. So yeah, if you guys know more about this, please feel free to update me. Let me know, send me some information that I don't know. I didn't look too much into this because I don't like talking politics, but sometimes, politics intersides with video game news and movie news. So I think it's important to let you guys know what's going out there, especially if it is going to change our entertainment industry as a whole. Now, if you haven't known, Hollywood has already had a major problem as of late with movies moving away from Hollywood, moving away from California. I think all the Marvel movies are shot in Atlanta because they give them better tax incentives, better incentives in general for them to go film out there. And I'm sure a lot of other countries are the same way, you know, with the Star Wars movies being done overseas as well, being filmed overseas as well. I'm sure they get a lot of incentives there. To film there, to take everything over there for their production and stuff like that. And this is an attempt to bring everything back here to the US, but very curious how they're going to end up doing it. I think California is the big problem at the moment as far as for the film industry in Hollywood, because while Hollywood is the big, huge landmark, you know, this is the place to make films, that is no longer the case because we have different technology, different information, and it is very, very, very expensive to make a film here in Los Angeles and here in California. So they need to start giving better tax incentives and things like that for studios to keep their films here. You know, we had, Lord of the Rings was filmed in New Zealand because of the beautiful landscapes and stuff like that, which is understandable. But, you know, there's a lot of places here. The United States is a giant country. Like, what is it? From London to Paris is like a 3 hour drive, give or take, if I'm not mistaken. And from Los Angeles to San Francisco is like a 5 or 6 hour drive. That just shows you how big California is in general. So we have a lot of places films like this can be done. So I'm curious what this is going to do to the industry and if this is even going to go through, because you know, it's a bit crazy. I don't know what the minutia is here, but let me know what you guys think. Do you think it's a good idea to tariff films that are produced outside the U.S. by 100%? Or do you think this is a bit ridiculous? Now, not politically, but just in general. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Truly Odd Podcast Movie News. So again, guys, let me know what you guys think of the topics down below. So thank you so much for joining me. And until next time, remember to stay true, be odd.